Okay, well, I'm back in here. I didn't have any trouble getting back here, but like I said, I'm not going to start any fires. Looks like somebody has. Luckily, it didn't get too far out of hand, but I was in this location last fall, and on that video, when I seen something big and dark at night, ducked behind a boulder. That right there is the boulder. So I'm going to walk up here and take a look at it in daylight, and we'll see if something was to come up tonight. Because what it was, I just assumed it was a black bear or a deer or something I spooked behind that boulder, but then it went behind the boulder and it never left. So this gives you an idea how big the boulder is with me standing in front of it, and it was on the other side of that. So whatever it was, it ducked down back there and stayed there. Or maybe it went off up through there and I just didn't see it move. But regardless, at the time, like right now, I was solo camping and I didn't go up there after it myself. So yeah, this underbrush, stuff had caught fire, looks like. Luckily it didn't get too out of hand though. That's a good thing. So, but also this is the area, you get down here, Cornell would have had his tent. This was would have been March 2021. We were down here, and he had his tent right through there where those dried ferns are, and something had come down this boulder field here and approached his tent, and that's what woke him up. And if anybody's just watching my videos for the first time, Cornell that I'm talking about is a friend of mine from Massachusetts who has a YouTube channel called the No Such Thing podcast, in which he explores mystery things like Bigfoot for one. So shout out to Cornell, and if you haven't already, check out his channel. So, not too hot. I'm going to go hiking over that ridge. As far as you can see, it drops off into some bottoms there, and I'm going to go hike down there and see if anything left any footprints down there. It has not rained enough to barely settle the dust down here, and it is dry, but it has rained, sprinkled, if you will, this afternoon, and there's rain in the forecast tonight, so maybe so. But right here, this ridge there, back 20 years ago when me and my friend Brian Baker were here, you couldn't drive this far back in here back then, and these trees were not growing up that much. But this is where something on top of that was throwing pebbles down at us, and I recounted that incident in my book. And I remember they weren't big rocks, and not like they were thrown with force, but they were thrown over that little ridge at us. And Brian, that's the part where he picked one up and tossed it back, and I'd made the comment it might not be a good idea to throw those back if that's indeed a Sasquatch. So anyway, like I see, those are younger pine trees. A lot of those are, so those wouldn't have been there, but it was still very thick at the time. So here we go. Going to go down in these bottoms and see if we can find anything interesting. And down in here is where when my son Elijah and Cornell come down where we went down at night, and it was in March, and the trees were not in bloom. It was early March, and that's where we came down and did our night shooting. So we're going to go down here and see if I can find anything of interest. You know, though, but seriously, all of this is interesting to me, whether we find anything Sasquatch related or not. And I get down here, I just texted him before I come down here, told him I was going to try one of his techniques, but Scott Carpenter, who, well, he has a YouTube channel called Scott Carpenter, and he's down in Tennessee, and he goes out and does a lot of hiking in the, what mountain is it? The Blue Ridge Mountains, I guess, is what's close to him. And I texted him, I said, I'm going to try one of your techniques, because what Scott does is he takes 2 GoPro type cameras with him, and he's got one facing forward and one facing back, so it's recording behind him as he's walking. So I'm to see if he sees anything peeking back at him, and he has captured some things like that too. So shout out to Scott Carpenter, because I'm going to be trying your technique here in a little bit when I get deeper down in here. And there's some mud down in there, and I know the mosquitoes are just about to come out and start feasting on me, but I'm going to shut up for a little just so y'all can hear how quiet it is down here. This canyon here runs east-west. Tell you, down here in these bottoms, the wind's not making it down here. You know, generally by this time of year, I've already been down in here, gosh, a good dozen times, you know, or close to it. But man, I tell you, it's been, for the last over 30 days, it's been over 100 degrees every day. And that just takes the fun out of it. It's nice today, though. See where that goes in right there? I have cast a track. The picture of me kneeling down with the track with plaster in it drying was right there about, I believe, 2 years ago. It was right in here. It had been headed that way. There were more tracks too in the mud, but that was the best one that I found. And when it gets dark, I'm going to hike back down in here and walk and see what we find. Something moving up there. Keep in mind, when I say something's moving up there, I'm not saying it's a Bigfoot moving up there. I'm saying it's something moving up there. And there could be a lot of things moving up there. Deer, bear, wild hogs. Tell you what I hate walking into in the middle of the spider web. It's a type of orb web spider, so I'll go around him so I don't tear up his web. Okay, I'm going to get back on this small Dave print. I think that's my boot heel. That's a pretty picture there. The sun's just starting to go down over the ridge there. Down in the creek, down there where I was, it's already getting dark. Up here on the top, it's still bright. See it anymore. I took a picture. I'm going to blow that up when I get back and see if anything shows up. But I don't know what it was, but something moved over there. I think it was an animal of some kind, but I cannot make it out from this distance. But between those two trees right there is where it was. I get home, I'm going to try to blow that up and see if I can zoom in on it. I took a picture, but I don't know. It's not there anymore. So if it was there and there, now it's not. It rules out a black tree stump. So it's black. So if it moved, it's not a tree stump. So could be a bear. It's not there anymore. I know I'm just filming a long time there, but I don't want it to be one of those deals I turn the camera off and then whatever it is moves again. I get home, we're going to put this on the computer and see if I can pull that up, and it may end up being nothing, but I noticed when I was up here by my truck, I caught movement out of the corner of my eye down there. We got one branch moving way down in there. If you see that silver thing moving, that's a branch. Probably ought to be paying attention to my surroundings up here too, not just that one area. I know when we were down here March of 21, there were 3 individual somethings out in the woods because we were getting wood knocks up the hill behind us, wood knocks down in the bottoms there, and rock clacking down in the creek. And that's exactly where whatever didn't want to be found, this is a good place for it to be. this time of year, because people just really don't come back in here very much. Very seldom in my back here that I run into anyone. Normally, if I do, it's closer to deer season, and I'll run into, every once the occasional hunter coming back here scouting out a place to set up their deer camp. But summertime, very, very seldom do I come in contact with anybody else, especially not this far back in. At the entrance to this place, there are a couple little camp spots cleared out, and usually if you're going to run into anybody, it's going to be up there, and it's, and that's very seldom. Anybody coming in here, I'll hear them driving and crushing over rocks a long ways before they get here. So, what was it down there? I don't know. But there was something below me, and it was black, and it was big. So, black bear, that's a strong possibility. Bigfoot, that's a possibility too. Tree stump is out of the question because it moved, and it wasn't there after a little bit. Like I said, I get home. I'm going to start picking this stuff apart on my computer. Try to be careful, that I'm not insinuating something that could, there could be another explanation for. And it is. It was an animal though. Possibly a black bear, possibly a Bigfoot. Whatever it was black, and it was of decent size. I know, especially when you're out here by yourself, you always wonder what you don't see that could be watching you out here. And I think of that when I see some of the pictures that Carrie Arnold from Bigfoot Odyssey has picked up down there in Florida in those swamps. And I mentioned to him one time, I said, I wonder if there's anything watching me sometimes down there that I just don't know is there. And of course his opinion was most definitely, especially in this area here, that I know that there is Bigfoot activity down in here. At least from 20 years ago, when the gentleman was riding his horse down here and one walked out into the road in front of him. That's when I started coming down into this area looking. And over the years, I've cast footprints, had rocks thrown at us. One very big, it bounced off a tree outside of camp, just about that way, about, I don't know, half a mile maybe. And I'm a lot deeper in here right now. And unlike every other time, I do not have a campfire, and I'm not going to start one. It's so dry, it's too much of a risk. And truth be known, there's probably a burn ban anyway. So anyway, I'll put this together. When I get back and see. that owl again. You know, the one gripe I got about these GoPros is the battery life on them is not very good at all. So I always keep one fully charged in my pocket and two on the charger. As I miss something on the GoPro, I don't want it to be because the battery runs down. That looks foreboding down there.